AI actually provides this sort of solution to help these people to live independently, to promote healthy living, and to actually take care of themselves.
Hey, buddy, how do you encourage people to stay active?
I like to get people dancing. Let's get dancing. Can everyone do this?
Oh.
Technology is becoming a lot easier to use. It is becoming more accessible and affordable. But with voice interaction with smart speakers and wearable devices and sensors that have a lot of automation to them, you don't have to struggle with technology anymore.
From the Zoomerplex in historic Liberty Village, the Zoomer with Marissa Lennox.
Welcome to the Zoomer. I'm Marissa Lennox. On today's panel, how robotics, artificial intelligence, wearable tech, smart living devices, and more are transforming how we age and improving the lives of older adults by an order of magnitude. What's more, these devices are here and they are accessible to you today. We'll show you the newest technologies that will empower you to age in place. But before we dive in, let's tee up the topic.
From safety and smart living devices to robotics and more, technology is fundamentally changing the experience of aging. And Zoomers are embracing it like never before. 75% of Canadians believe that tech advancements can help older adults stay safe, independent, and living in their own homes longer. A majority also believe it can help to reduce social isolation. 70% say technology can help older adults stay active and manage their health better as they age, while a majority believe artificial intelligence could help solve issues affecting our health system. By 2036, approximately 1/4 of all Canadians will be over 65. And many will be living full, active lives thanks to rapidly changing and innovative technology.
Now, David, you know, it's wild, but in fact, in many ways, it's the adults, sort of the older adult population that's driving much of this innovation in technology.
Well, they're driving it. It's a virtuous circle, I like to say, that number one, the technology keeps you living better, all of the points in Moses' intro, healthier, safer in your home. But when those three things are achieved, your underlying health gets better. We know that the absence of that, being isolated, not being mobile, not being able to get around, impairs your health. So this creates not only better living, but longer living in turn better living, more demand for even more. So there's this rush of demand now and technology stepping into the breach. And what we have here is the beginnings of what will be a $1 trillion industry.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you think about some of the new aging in place technologies that are on the market, a lot of them are almost powered by AI. First of all, what is that? And, how is this a good thing? Could it also be a bad thing?
Yeah, so I think let me take a step back and try to understand, as we saw in this introduction, like within a decade, 1 in 4 Canadians will be, senior. And our health system is not ready yet to basically take care of all of these people who may need this, their help. So as we move forward, aging in place is a reality, right? And AI actually provides this sort of solution to help these people to live independently, to promote healthy living, and to actually take care of themselves. So, for example, detecting falls, for reminding them to, take their medicines. And we can actually go from there and we can look into other clinically validated health outcomes. So, for example, as you were saying, are people getting socially isolated? Or if there is any functional decline, people with surgeries and all, when they go home, they're not very mobile. So these are the things where we believe that AI has a lot of scope.
But do we also need to be concerned about some of the negative effects of AI with respect to privacy?
Yes, that's a very good question. Privacy is very paramount in sort of our design that we do. And of course, we are very cognizant that, patients' data should be kept very separate. A lot of these wearable devices and the technologies that we are developing, we stream data to the cloud. So we need to be very sure that all of the data is encrypted. people's data should not be combined together, right? The models that we are developing should be, capable of working on these data independently. So I think, yes, privacy is very important. We should be only storing de-identified information. We should not be storing identifiable information.
It's so interesting because, we're talking on this panel and throughout the show today, we'll be demonstrating robots and smart home technology that is able to identify and sense certain things based on heat and breath. It sounds so futuristic, but it's here, and there's this sort of trickle-down effect where these things are becoming more accessible and they're more affordable. I mean, is the future here today, Mark?
Yes, because of what you just said. Technology is becoming a lot easier to use. It is becoming more accessible and affordable. Seniors, I know the cliche is that that seniors are digital immigrants. They had to learn this new tech world and adapt to it, whereas the kids today are digital natives. They're just inherently more comfortable with it. But with voice interaction, with smart speakers and wearable devices and sensors that have a lot of automation to them, you don't have to struggle with technology anymore.
That's right. And we know from the data, Adam, 85% of people or more want to age at home. And these technologies are making it safer and easier for people to do just that.
Yeah, I mean, the way that technology evolves and the way that we've seen it grow through the way it's evolved from military to industrial to in-home, we see it growing at a rate that we've never seen it before. And making it into the home is really important for keeping people safe. But it is a complicated question about privacy. It's something that's in the news all the time. It's something that people are concerned about. And a lot of the AI that's available today and is growing is powered by information, right? And it's really important to understand that a lot of the benefits of the technology that we're having is powered by by information. And it's important that the population becomes more comfortable or understands how to become comfortable with sharing information so that they can get the benefits of all of that technology. It's just a really interesting question and sort of complexity to how it gets introduced into the home.
And you really have to balance those two things. All right, well, when we come back, how robotics are changing our lives now. That's next. How are you, buddy?
I'm great. I'm so excited to be here on the Zoomer.
I hear you're a great companion for older adults.
I am a robot who likes to help people.
Hello, my name is Stevie and welcome to my lab. I am learning to help people stay independent as they age.
Robots specifically designed for our aging population are poised to radically impact the ways in which we care for older adults.
069, 069.
A company in Japan is experimenting with the nursing care robot, affectionately called Robear. It's being developed to help patients around the hospital and can perform tasks like lifting a patient from a bed into a wheelchair or helping a patient stand up. The robot has a number of sensors, including torque and tactile sensors made of rubber that allow for Robear to do challenging tasks without hurting anyone.
Hello.
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 Oh, dear.
We could do this forever.
Oh, no, we could.
Meanwhile, robots are also being developed to help combat social isolation among seniors.
Would you like to dance with me?
Yes.
This song is In the Mood by Glenn Miller.
While others are encouraging older adults to engage in physical activity in a fun way. Also coming down the pipe, robots designed to make life easier as we age in our homes, including bots to carry our groceries home, to deliver meals and medications, and to help you carry heavier items up the stairs. Well, you just saw robots from around the world helping to improve the lives of older adults, but closer to home here in studio, we've welcomed Farood from VTrak Robotics. Farood, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And your special companion, iPal, Buddy. Hi, Buddy.
Hello,
How are
everyone.
you?
Hi, Marissa.
How are you, buddy?
I'm great. I'm so excited to be here on the Zoomer.
I hear you're a great companion for older adults.
I am a robot who likes to help people, and I play them their favorite music. Shall I play a song now?
Yes, please.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars.
Hey, buddy, how do you encourage people to stay active?
I like to get people dancing. Let's get dancing. Can everyone do this?
Hold my hand.
Oh.
In other words, baby, kiss me. Fill my heart.
Okay, well, this is adorable. Maybe we can turn the music off and I can ask you a few questions about Buddy.
Sure.
So, wow, where do I start? So, what was the impetus for creating a robot like Buddy?
Well, the first actual motivation was 4 years ago. I was in elderly care facility, and I just, visited the lady, and she mentioned that she didn't have any visitor for 4 years. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of triggered the idea, and I thought, how can we turn this around and create an environment which would be more engaging.
So it's really to combat social isolation?
That and a little bit more. I think besides isolation is also communication, more communication with the family members, more practice, music, and also add some other features that can stimulate the brain a little bit more in the sense that, some exercises, some math exercises, and so on.
And we talk about features, how about even just daily reminders?
Yes, we have several features that we can customize the robot for to, remind your, medication, your exercise, call your family and friends, and so on. So we can just customize a lot of those items.
What's fascinating to me is that, again, when we think about robots, we think about something in the future, but they're here today, and robots like Buddy are being used all over the world. I mean, how widespread or ubiquitous is Buddy?
Buddy right now is in 17 countries. You can actually take one home today. And
for a small fee.
Yes, it's about $4,500. It's the price of a TV if you really think about it. And this is probably the most affordable robot in the world right now. Yeah. A lot of schools, they have them. We started with schools, with children's schools, and then we go to universities, and gradually we had enough knowledge so we can start to build some apps that they can use more for elderly care facilities or for homes.
So he's mostly in care facilities, or is he in homes right now?
In homes too.
And how do you program them? I mean, it's very individualized, you would think.
Actually, this is so simple that you won't believe it. If you can use your TV and you can use your phone, you can use Buddy. It takes you 15 minutes to learn it.
Yes, and you can just program him with, he or she, I suppose, with the schedule that you want to be reminded of, some of the reminders that you want to hear throughout the day, get up, be active, some of the songs you want to hear. Is that how that works?
Yeah, it has a very simple screen at the front. It's a touch screen. You can pick, the song that you want or music you want to put in, or reminder. It's very easy. All finger touch. You can touch them and program them. And if you want to go deeper and wider than that, we can actually customize the application for you.
Now, I'm curious, so I understand Buddy can't necessarily replace a caregiver. Is that the idea? Is the future where robots eventually replace that personal care?
Actually, our company's belief is we are robotics for humans. So we actually opposed to the situation that we have to replace people. Mm-hmm. We don't believe that there is a national or even global strategy how to deal with robotics issues or RPAs. And till then we stay away from it. Our idea is just to improve the quality of life.
Yeah.
And we don't like to put people out of job. We think this would be something that complements what they do.
Yeah, yeah. All right, well, Faroud, thank you for bringing in your robots. And Buddy, I have to ask, would you like to take us to break?
Sure. More from the Zoomer coming up after this break.
So something like this can keep you independent with very little effort. Now you get full range of motion for things like typing, eating, reading a book, using a screen.
Among all the gadgets at this year's Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, a number of the latest innovations also aimed at improving life for our aging population, like these smart pajamas that tackle one of the leading causes of death or injuries among older adults.
This pajama is in sleep and lounge. The pajama can measure heart rate and respiration during sleep, and also activity level in the daytime, and also detects fall, including the way of the fall.
Also helping to combat injuries from falls, the smart belt senses falls and immediately calls for help. As does the fall-sensing smart cane.
So there are sensors inside the cane. We also have a GPS inside, so when the people falls, we know exactly where.
Improving mobility also took center stage at the Consumer Electronics Show, with one of the most buzzed about innovations being the Segway 9Bot, an electric self-balancing wheelchair that elevates users. The Will CI, a smart wheelchair that easily senses obstacles and avoids them. And for individuals with very limited mobility, this brainwave sensing device uses your thoughts to change the TV channel or play video games. Back here at the table, we have several other wearable devices. Mark Elias, CEO of SteadyWear Inc., joins us now to talk about his device, the SteadyOne Glove. Mark, thanks for joining the roundtable.
Thank you for having me, Marissa.
What is the SteadyOne Glove?
So SteadyWear, we've developed the SteadyOne. It's a smart glove designed to reduce tremors for individuals with essential tremor or Parkinson's disease who suffer from uncontrollable hand tremors that can really inhibit activities of daily living.
And maybe you could show us a little bit how it works. How would that work?
Absolutely. So first, I'll start by describing how it feels to have it on. So if I move my hand slowly and softly, it doesn't do anything and it doesn't react. But the second I accelerate my movement, it locks in place, right? And I'll delve in deeper on how this works. So I'll just quickly detach the stabilization mechanism. So we developed two pieces of technology to make this work. The first one is a ball joint, and we lined it with a smart fluid, very similar to cornstarch and water. When you move slowly, it's liquidy, but the second you accelerate, it stiffens up. So if I move the ball, it's very soft, but if I accelerate, it instantly stiffens, right? And that's how it keeps the hand steady. The second piece here is a counterbalancer, typically used in buildings to stabilize them against earthquake or wind. So if I'm trying to shake quickly, it'll really fight you back. And that's with our, magnetic configuration in there.
Now, is the idea that someone would wear this all day, or is it really just for activities that might trigger a tremor, like eating or drinking?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, typically individuals would wear it for specific activities, eating, riding, or drinking. But, the scope is very wide in the sense that they can wear it, to conduct hobbies, to put on makeup, the list goes on. So it's really up to the individual, and they can wear it all day or wear it for specific things. The cool thing is they can have this portion on, but they would just need to detach the stabilizer if, they don't need it for something specific.
So convenience.
Yes.
All right, well, speaking of wearable devices, Adam, you have brought a pretty neat looking contraption. Tell us a little bit about the Exoskeleton Arm.
Well, so I've brought a collection of things from various manufacturers that we represent on our site. This is from a manufacturer called Talem Technologies, and it is the Exoskeleton Arm. It lessens the pull of gravity on a person's upper extremity, so their arm, their shoulder, so that if somebody is weak, they can use this arm in order to reduce the amount of fatigue during normal activities.
So the impetus for a device like this would be for someone who is frail. Is that right?
Yeah, frail is a good example. Generally, you don't want to allow small weaknesses or fatigue to be what pushes you to need support workers. So something like this can keep you independent with very little effort. Now you get full range of motion for things like typing, eating, reading a book, using a screen.
And is it mobile? I mean, it looks like it's clamped onto the table right now, but could someone move it around their home fairly easily?
Absolutely. So here, if I just tuck this away, this table clamp here, which is from Ideas for Independent Living, is attached by just 2 screws. You can quickly unscrew it, move it to different tables. There's also different versions of the arm, one that attaches to a wheelchair and integrates with the power, and another that integrates with a standalone table that rolls around your home.
Now you also have, I mean, this isn't limited just to arm strength. I understand you could also use it for walking.
Exoskeletons in general, yes, absolutely. Maybe not this one, but absolutely.
Okay, so maybe let's talk a little bit about the exoskeleton leg? Is that how? Is that what? Am I using the right term for this?
Sure. Yeah, exoskeleton legs. So this is from a manufacturer called Pajamas. They're based in Quebec. This product is called the Kyogo, and it's used to amplify the power from the knee joint more than anything else. So the sensors kick in and help with your flexion and extension of the knee as you walk.
And again, who would benefit from a device like this?
Anyone who's struggling with some lower mobility issues or gait issues. So often it's being used in a study right now at a clinic called the Assistive Technology Clinic, where they're showing improvements to people with Parkinson's disease, which would normally affect your gait. And it helps to both rehab their condition and slow the deterioration of the symptoms.
Is this the kind of thing, though, that someone will eventually get to the point where they wear all the time, or is it primarily just used in rehab facilities?
Today, I've seen it mostly in rehab facilities. And I would say that over time, it's going to be something that becomes ubiquitous with the home. Actually, I mean, there's a really interesting conversation around the psychology of it and people feeling good about wearing them and that people are watching them wear these things. I think that's probably a separate discussion, but one day, definitely, I think we'll see them. It's trending in that direction.
All right, well, Mark and Adam, thank you for bringing in those devices. There's more after the break. Stay tuned.
The baby boomers as a generation have been the biggest adopters and the earliest adopters of technology all throughout our lives.
Welcome back. Peter Talachek has joined us at the round table to tell us about Home Accept, a product he developed, which is a non-intrusive monitoring system for families and caregivers. Peter, thank you so much for being here. You've brought just this tiny little device with you, but it's brilliantly smart. And tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you very much for having me here today. 3 years ago, the founder, John Robertson, in Halifax, a Canadian company, very proud for that, decided that there has to be a better way forward. Aging in place combined with the utmost respect for privacy. And this has taken 3 years to get to this point. It's battery powered, no cameras, no recordings, and each sensor records over 100 data points per second. And with true machine learning artificial intelligence, depending on where the sensors are placed, for example, in a home, you'd put one in the bathroom, one in the bedroom, one in the kitchen, and perhaps one in the main living area. And with these data points being captured every second, within a few weeks, we know anonymously what that pattern of life looks like in a home. So we learn through the use of artificial intelligence, what does healthy living look like? When does mom go to have a shower in the morning? When does she usually cook? So if one day, for example, there was an anomaly, an exception, why did mom not have a shower today? Someone in the circle of care, and that would be an app on your cell phone. Usually the eldest daughter is the person that starts this process, but it could be other family members and other caregivers. So it could be a neighbor. Could you go check? Why did mom have a fall? Why didn't she go? There's some alert that is triggered by some, we only want to bother you when there's an exception. And over time, these sensors will get smarter and smarter and will even start to detect slight changes in behavior. So maybe there's a slight deterioration of some type of activity or function. And through that circle of care, whoever is given access to that data, they can customize it how they see fit, and you can add whomever you choose, because every person's situation will be different.
And it really gives the caregiver or the adult daughter who's at work that sense of comfort, because she'll be notified in real time, say if mom left the house.
Exactly. So our study showed us that the eldest daughter, which could be male or female, is stressed and worried about mom or dad, but they're also stressed themselves. So they're not living as well and as healthy as they could. So usually that's the starting point, and over time, things will get to a point where the circle of care is functioning and you're only notified where there's a true exception, a true anomaly.
Now these different devices are collecting so much data. How are we leveraging this data, Shiraz?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Right now, a lot of us are using, different types of smart devices, both inside the house and outside the house, right? So there's this enormous amount of data that is being collected. So what we can do with that? So perhaps solutions like what Peter is saying, understanding their activities of normal living and then maybe detecting falls. But what we are interested in is actually moving a little bit forward and try to sort of reason out from this data. So for example, this pilot study that we are doing, so this looks like an app. Basically, it is monitoring some of the vital signs like heart rate and steps taken, which is similar to like a traditional fitness tracker. But we are also monitoring your sleeping patterns. So like a smart mat that goes inside your mattress, and maybe motion sensors and other types of sensors. And through the APIs, we can collect all of this data. And like as I was saying earlier, we can look into these clinical outcomes like social isolation, functional decline. And these are important to understand because these are major risks for more serious problems like cognitive impairments, dementia, depression. So mental health of older adults is also a major concern that we are looking forward using these kind of technologies, because we believe and we have primary evidence that we can leverage a lot of this data to look into bigger problems.
Mm-hmm. I think that there's a bit of a reputation that seniors are technophobic and therefore aren't going to make use of these types of smart home devices, David.
Well, I think the problem is that the seniors category is dominated now by baby boomers. Baby boomers are 55 to 75 years of age. It's like we've always been, I'm a boomer, the largest demographic, because think about the rock going through the python, wherever it is along the tail, that's the bulge, and the boomers are the bulge. The baby boomers as a generation have been the biggest adopters and the earliest adopters of technology all throughout our lives. And I'm looking at an audience here, probably largely of baby boomers. Whatever was going when we were 20, when we were 30, when we were 40, we bought it with both arms. So we're not against or resistant or afraid of technology. The only gap is the same as a younger person would have. Hey, here's a new product. I don't know how to use this product. I need the owner's manual. But once I'm involved in it, the story I like to tell, I don't mind telling about my mother-in-law in the U.S. who's in her 80s, a wonderful woman, and you can't pry her off of her iPad. Now, did she need a day of setup by the younger generation of, getting it all going? Sure, but once it's going, she is, give me everything you got. So we are a big market, and I'm delighted to see that the tech industry is responding to that, because there is trillions of dollars on the table of future spending on this kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're really embracing it. All right, well, there's more after the break. Stay tuned.
This is the Series 5 Apple Watch. So this is a device, of course, that your loved ones could wear, and if it detects a fall, it will notify, it'll ask you if you're okay, and if you don't reply, then it will go down the list of the contacts that you've set up in advance.
The new Amazon Echo has everyone asking Alexa for help.
Alexa, what time is it? What the hell is wrong with this blasted thing? Amanda!
But the latest technology isn't always easy to use for people of a certain age.
These kids done bought me a busted machine again. Odessa!
The new Amazon Echo Silver, the only smart speaker device designed specifically to be used by the greatest generation. It's super loud and responds to any name even remotely close to Alexa.
Marissa, how many did old Satchel strike out last night?
Satchel Paige died in 1982.
How many he get?
Satchel Paige is dead.
He what now?
Died.
Who did?
Satchel Paige.
I don't know about that.
Even local news and pop culture.
Anita, what them boys up to across the street?
They are just playing.
They what now?
They are just playing.
You say they just playing now?
Yes, they are just playing.
I don't know about that.
Pair it to smart devices like your thermostat.
Alessandra, turn the heat up.
The room is already 100 degrees.
Are you trying to kill me, Alize?
The new Amazon Echo Silver plays all the music they loved when they were young.
Angela, play black jazz.
Playing, jazz.
It also has a quick scan feature to help them find things.
Emilia, where did I put the phone?
The phone is in your right hand.
And it has an feature for long rambling stories.
So then I gave him $5, and he said I only gave him $1. I said, I know I gave you a $5. Because I only had a 5 and a 1 on me. And this is the $1 right here. So, I mean, you tell me who's crazy.
Amazon Echo Silver. Get yours today.
That was a parody on SNL. SNL was obviously playing into stereotypes and a bit of misinformation. In reality, Zoomers have become heavy adopters of technology. Mark Saltzman is here with some products already in the marketplace that have new added features. And you're here to sort of demonstrate those. And I think that, that's just the point, though, is, these devices have been in the marketplace for some time, but they're constantly evolving, and they're just becoming newer and smarter. So tell us a little bit about the 3 products you've brought in.
Sure. Yeah, so why don't we start with the Facebook portal, which has Alexa built in. And you're right, by the way, about how popular they are, because just the Amazon devices have sold over 120 million units in the US alone. And a good chunk of them are seniors, or Zoomers, of course, as we say. But this is the Facebook portal, which allows you to make free video calls over Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, but it also has built-in Alexa. So you can, of course, ask it, as we saw in that parody, that funny video, you can say, where did I leave my passport, for example? And it will remind you, or remind me to take my medicine every day, or where did I leave my phone? And it'll actually make it ring even if you left it on silent, if it's stuck between the couch cushions. But let me just show you what it's like to call someone. So I programmed it. This is my dear wife, Kelly, and she should know that I am ready to give her a call here from in front of a live studio audience. And
is this FaceTime?
Yeah, so the idea is you could just use your voice, or touching, and it's Facebook Messenger in this case.
Oh, there she is.
Hi, okay. How are you, hon?
Perfect. Hi, I'm good.
Okay, good. Can I show that this is, I can put it in this view as well, and it'll automatically rotate around? Okay, so you guys can capture that. So the idea is that I can chat with you, and she can walk around, so you can chat with your loved ones. Yeah, so how are you, Kelly? How's your morning?
Good. I've just been, my morning's been great.
Okay.
I've had a busy morning, and now I'm home.
Okay. All right. Is that good?
Thanks for coming on, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly. But the idea is that it's not just a smart speaker with a smart screen. So even if you ask for things like recipes, which will show you, not just tell you the recipe, but you can also make free video calls with that camera, and it'll actually follow you around the room as well.
At $300, we talk about this trickle-down effect
Right.
and how these products are becoming more accessible. Just earlier today, I had a conversation with a friend who said, I remember when they used to say, one day you'll be able to see someone on a
Right.
screen and communicate with them, and now, you know, they're accessible to everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I think voice is the most natural interface we've got, and this is really powered by voice and without breaking the bank. All right, next up is wearable technology that can do things like detect a fall. This is the Series 5 Apple Watch. So this is a device, of course, that your loved ones could wear, and if it detects a fall, it will notify, it'll ask you if you're okay, and if you don't reply, then it will go down the list of the contacts that you've set up in advance. It could be a neighbor, it could be a child, it could be emergency services.
It'll automatically call them.
Automatically detect a hard fall with very few what we call false positives. Like even if you swing your arm around, it's going to know that that's not a hard fall. Also, what you may know with this Series 5 Apple Watch is that it has a built-in ECG, an electrocardiogram, that can detect any sort of irregular heart rhythms, arrhythmias, and things like that, and ask you if you're okay, and again, send the information to a loved one, which is fantastic.
And we've heard success stories. I mean, I've certainly read stories in the news of people's lives being saved because of devices like that.
Yeah, no, there's been countless stories with Apple Watch, and it's just getting better and better over the years. This one's about $500. There are some Series 3 watches that have some of the same features, like a heart rate monitor, but not a built-in ECG, for about $200 less than that. Yeah. So you sort of move up on the features, but they're very accessible. You can also use them with consent to track a loved one using GPS, and if should they be a wanderer, which happened with my grandfather. So this is something that I think a lot of people with consent would be okay with using.
Really?
And then finally, sensors. We heard a little bit from Peter earlier. This is what I brought with me are the Samsung SmartThings platform for the home. It's a modular system, so you can choose what sensors you want. But for example, this is a simple door or window sensor that you can put on, for example, a fridge or a medicine cabinet. And not only will a caregiver be notified if it's been triggered, but if it hasn't been triggered. So if you know it's unusual for your mom, for example, or granddad to not open the fridge door after, say, 5 or 6 hours, you could be notified on an app securely. Similarly, a motion sensor is an option. Put that in the hallway. If it's unusual for your loved one to not leave their bedroom by, say, 9 a.m., you could be notified. So whether it's triggered or not.
Would you program all of those to put in the amount of time that would have to lapse in order for,
Exactly, it's super easy. There's a water sensor to minimize damage. The minute it detects moisture, you're notified. This is a smart plug, so you can put a coffee maker in there and then just use your voice or an app to start a coffee when you wake up in the morning. There's little buttons that just make it everything just so easy to automate your home. Yeah, it's great.
So I have to ask, because I joke often about you having the smartest home in the world, but are all of these devices plugged into your home?
We're surprisingly selective in what tech we've got. Yeah, people think because I review tech for a living that my house must look like a consumer electronics store.
Or a Best Buy,
yeah. So, but yeah, we have our our Ring video doorbell, and we do have a smart speaker in every room and many rooms because we love listening to music and all the other sort of amenities. Yeah. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
All
fun
right.
stuff.
Well, thanks so much for bringing those in, Mark.
Pleasure.
When we come back, final thoughts from our panelists. That's next.
Don't forget, for free tickets to the show, go to www.universe.com and search Zoomer Media and log on to www.thezoomertv.com for full episodes and more.
Welcome back to the Zoomer. It's time for final thoughts from our panelists, starting to my left. David.
I think the exciting thing here is the plethora of products that are available. And I think what I'd like our audience to know, both here and at home, is that this is now becoming a thing that you have to keep track of. And I know at CARP and at our flagship website, Everything Zoomer, We are going to be tracking this more and more and more, and you're going to find yourselves in the habit, because it's so exciting to keep up, of shopping the market, becoming familiar with what's there, because we're just at the very beginning. And as some of these products become integrated with each other, so with smarter and smarter features, the potential to live longer and, most importantly, live better while living longer will only go up and up and up. So it's a good news story, but it's also a pay attention story and keep watching for the news about this sector.
I think my final thoughts is like our AI is very exciting, and we can really help the Zoomers. But I think moving forward, a major component is the involvement of you guys into the development of these devices, because a lot of these technologies are being developed by younger people who may not totally understand the needs and the requirement of the Zoomers and the seniors. So I invite you to please participate wholeheartedly in a lot of these studies and support this revolution.
Technology is a tool. It's part of the puzzle to keep our loved ones living longer and better independently at home. It's not a one-size-fits-all scenario. There's no shortage of gadgets out there, but the prices have never been more affordable, and they've never been more, these technologies have never been easier to use, thanks to things like voice interaction and artificial intelligence. So it's a very exciting time.
I think I would just echo what David was saying about the plethora of technology that's out there. It can be really overwhelming and very intimidating for people to sort through everything and understand what's ready for market, what's not, technically, commercially, all of those sorts of things, and there needs to be more resources. That was one of the mandates that we had when we started at Vika.io, was to try to cut through all that noise, understand what's good, what's out there, and what's ready, and who is it for. So we're really excited to be working alongside the Zoomer generation to try to figure out how we can bring more of that to everyone who needs it.
All right, well, thank you to my panelists, and frankly to all of the guests that brought in their products today. That's all the time we have. We'll see you soon. For now, it's time to zoom out.